Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and here's a headline from crypto media outlet You Today. Here's one thing XRP holders don't want to miss an SEC chair nominee's opening testimony. As I record this, it is indeed March 2nd, 2021. This is the day of Gary Gensler's confirmation hearing. Of course, Gary has been nominated to take on the role as chair of the SEC. It's a little after midnight as I record this, so it'll be a little bit later in the day when this hearing actually gets underway. But I want to talk about perhaps what to expect with this coming up quick. Once this is all said and done, I'm sure I'll be following up with another video much later today with some analysis as far as what actually ultimately took place here. Will there be any sort of talk about the litigation between the SEC versus Ripple? Fair enough question. I think it's pretty clear at this point in time, the most notable case the SEC has out right now is that against Ripple. There isn't even a close second at this point, I wouldn't say. Even so, I personally am not counting on that coming up just because it is the most notable case at this point in time. I think it's going to be there'll be all sorts of questions posed towards Gary, no doubt, during this confirmation hearing, but I don't think it's going to be heavily focused specifically around crypto. Hopefully, there will be some talk having to do with the crypto asset class, but I think it's going to be more broad. That would be my expectation here. If we actually get something having to do with Ripple and or XRP, I'll be thrilled. I'm not so sure we're going to see that, but we'll be able to get a feel for Gary's general approach to all of this. And he actually does have some prepared remarks that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video. I want to be clear that I don't have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast in the space. Love me some XRP and crypto, and I make YouTube videos purely as a hobby. That is all that it is. All right. American academic and ex-investment banker Gary Gensler is set to appear before the Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs on March 2nd for his much-awaited confirmation hearing to become the next chairman of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Gensler's nomination is widely expected to be greenlit by lawmakers without bipartisan squabbling. And that's a point that I brought up just a day or two ago. I brought it up a few times, actually, but I'm not seeing any sort of indication that Gensler is somebody that is going to, result in, let's just say, conflict moving forward. He seems to just be like, okay, yeah, whatever, get the Gary guy in there, it's fine. That's the kind of the sentiment I get, because when people are being appointed in the federal level for any number of positions, if it's going to be a problem, you kind of know ahead of time, the vast majority of the time. So to me, it just seems like a virtual certainty he's going to get approved, which is why his general approach and how he leads the SEC is going to be of paramount importance for XRP holders and Ripple. In his recently published opening testimony, Gensler doesn't mention digital assets. However, he does allude to them by stating that markets are changing with technology, and I'll be jumping into that. First, I do want to give a shout out to Nitro X XRP Vet, who tagged me in this next piece, along with a number of others in the XRP community. And so, Nitro, thank you very much. I very much do appreciate that. And this piece is titled, Gensler to Stress Clear Rules of the Road at SEC Nomination Hearing. And so, as far as like these, they have a few little bullet points of what you need to know. And I think it's a fair summarization. Number one, Gensler is set to appear before the Senate Banking Committee on Tuesday. 2, he underscores the importance of rooting out wrongdoing and adapting to new technologies. 3, as CFTC chief, Gensler took decisive action to increase transparency, he says. And so here's the actual prepared statement, which undoubtedly he will be reading tomorrow. And I want to cover a chunk of this here. So check this out. Chairman Brown, Ranking Member Toomey, members of the committee, it is an honor to appear before you. 2 decades ago, I served on this committee's staff under Chairman Paul Sarbanes, who we sadly lost late last year. And today, I am proud to be here as President Biden's nominee to chair the Securities and Exchange Commission. I have spent my entire professional career in and around the financial markets, in the private sector, in state and federal government, and now in academia. And I believe our markets are the finest in the world. but they didn't become that way through happenstance. In the shadow of the Great Depression, Congress created the SEC to protect investors, to maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and to facilitate capital formation. In the decades since, we have seen that when the SEC does its job, when there are clear rules of the road and a cop on the beat to enforce them, our economy grows and our nation prospers. And I read that and I was just like, what? I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough statement, but that is not what we have. That is absolutely not what we have. I mean, fair enough statement in terms of this would be important, clear rules of the road, and making sure that they're actually enforced, what the hell kind of clear guidelines do we have right now? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, think about this. I had this. I was going to pull this up for later in the video. It's perfect time to just bring this up right now. I think I had, here you go. Somebody was tweeting to attorney Jeremy Hogan, who is, he's been sharing, I'm sure many of you at this point are familiar with Jeremy Hogan. He's an attorney who's been talking about Ripple and XRP quite a bit, examining the case. He runs a YouTube channel called Legal Briefs, which you should check out if you've not. And so this tweet from somebody in the XRP community named Frank just the other day tweeted out, "How can it be that the SEC told me in October last year that they have not decided if XRP is a security or not?" And so you can see he blocked out his name here, and certainly fair enough. But look at this. October 14th, 2020, this XRP community member actually reached out to the SEC to find out about XRP's status. And he got kind of a boilerplate response here, which says, "Thank you for recent email to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. We appreciate the opportunity to review your additional concerns about Ripple XRP cryptocurrency." And that burns my biscuits right there. It's not Ripple XRP cryptocurrency, SEC, you bunch of asshats. You know what I want to know? How do you guys get your shirts on in the morning? Like, I mean, are your shoes Velcro? Because I don't see how you're doing anything that requires complex motor skills. I don't understand how this is the thing here. And then this boilerplate response continues. "Please be advised the SEC has not issued a determination on whether the cryptocurrency XRP is a security." Holy hell, full stop. Let me just stop again, right? All right. Oh my God, this is grinding my gears. You see, I'm getting all hot and bothered. I need to calm down a little bit. Look, 8 freaking years you had. 8 years to make a determination. And then October of last year, you're still like, yeah, we don't know if it's a security. You had at least one major exchange in 2019 say, hey, we're selling XRP, is this a problem? And you didn't say no. You also went after all sorts of ICOs in 2017 that had just popped up. So the reason I'm stating this is when you're talking about the importance of having a clear regulatory framework and then a cop on the beat to enforce it, do you think that's in place right now? Because I sure as hell don't. And then it reads as follows. "Whether a cryptocurrency is considered a security will depend on the characteristics and use of the cryptocurrency. As we have suggested, you may want to review Chairman Jay Clayton's statement regarding cryptocurrencies and initial coin offerings." Yeah, I've heard everything from asshat Jay Clayton. I've seen enough. His response when asked if XRP is a security is, if it's a security, we'll regulate it. No, that's not a freaking answer. Is it a security? And then he just said it. He said it twice in a row in this one interview that always pops in my mind. He's like, I think I've been clear. If it's a security, how regulate that? That's exactly what he sounds like, by the way, just so you know. And so back to his statement here now. "But when we take our eyes off the ball, when we fail to root out wrongdoing, or to adapt to new technologies, or to really understand novel financial instruments, things can go very wrong. And when that happens, people get hurt." Holy freaking hell, are you talking about XRP holders? I mean, you're not. I doubt you are. But that's absolutely true. Holy freaking hell. This is what I'm talking about here, And so I'm hoping that ultimately Gary Gensler is going to be the guy that once this is all said and done, I hope he's not going to be the guy that just does everything he can to run Ripple into the ground, because that will have a snowball effect on all cryptocurrency in the United States, and all the entire blockchain industry. and you're going to run the innovation outside of the United States. Do you want to be responsible for one of the most successful and important companies in the world of crypto being decimated? I'm talking about Ripple, of course, here. Do you really want to be responsible for that? Now, from a legal perspective, it's, he doesn't just get to decide that's the case. They can decide to bring charges against Ripple, which the SEC has done. But still, this is going to be adjudicated in the court of law, or there's going to be a settlement. So he can't just snap his fingers and just make Ripple go away. I understand that. But what if he was successful? What if we got some bad law? Bad stuff can happen. I'm more optimistic than not. I'm just saying. Because this is where you get to the part where you just cited here. When things go wrong, people get hurt. You mean the XRP holders losing substantial portions of their investment to the tune of billions of dollars without any sort of fraud charges against Ripple? It's just disgusting what has freaking happened here. And so, big picture, I am optimistic. I'm not so sure we're going to see any comments about Ripple or XRP tomorrow, though. Again, of course, I'd love that. But I think what we can hope to do is, actually be today. It's after midnight. I think, did I say yesterday? I'm still living like it's Monday. It's just after midnight now. But, I still think that you're going to be able to glean something out of this. And it'll be, I think, depending on the questions asked, his responses could be rather telling here. And I'm still cautiously optimistic at a minimum here. But you just don't know for sure exactly what all of this is going to look like here. So will justice ultimately be done? Well, we're going to find out together. Now, the good news is, since this is already going through right now, like the hearing today, in terms of how long it would take for him to actually get approved, I don't know, but sooner than later. It would certainly be sooner than later. And so, unless something really unforeseen happens. But I don't think you're going to see a settlement prior to him taking over. And what also has been fascinating, too, is you've got the SEC still actively doing everything they can to hinder Ripple. And I'm talking about post the initial claim against Ripple being filed. Do you guys remember this? Take a look at, I think this is what I want. There you go. From attorney John Deaton. He wrote, the SEC is in utter disarray. As many know, acting chairwoman Allison Heron-Lee published her directive that conditional settlement offers would no longer be considered when negotiating potential settlements. The next day, Hester Pierce and Elad Roisman published the following. And then he linked to a thread here. And so think about this. When Jay Clayton exited towards the tail end of December, his last full day, I guess it was it the day that, so I know the charges were brought on December 22nd. Maybe he had, or maybe I think that was his last full day. That's right. And then maybe he had like a partial day the next day, whatever. So Elad Roisman took over as acting chair once excuse me, once Jay Clayton the asshat left. And then Elad Roisman, acting chair, was replaced by another acting chair, Allison Heron-Lee. Now, Allison Heron-Lee, she did exactly what was cited here in this tweet. She changed a long-standing policy within the SEC so that, if you're found guilty or as part of a settlement agreement, you're found to have acknowledged that you did something wrong in terms of selling the securities in an illegal way, then you cannot, as a condition of that settlement, also be allowed an exemption to continue selling said security. But before that, it could be part of the process. You could say, okay, you were wrong, here's the fine, but you can continue to sell the security. You just have to file an exemption, this or that. Maybe there could be some other restrictions put on it, but you could move forward, which is what happened with the Kick Interactive case. I'm not going to go into that in this video. I've talked about it quite a bit. But they were allowed to continue selling their Kin token even though they were found guilty, and it was a slam dunk case for the SEC. It was a win, but they were still allowed to continue selling their token. And so Allison Heron-Lee, as acting director, changed a long-standing policy. And Elad Roisman, who just weeks earlier was the acting chairman, he lost that position to the new acting chairman, Allison Lee. He and Hester Pierce, the day after this policy was changed, they came out together and said, just went in, they tore it up as far as why they disagreed. It was this piece right here. A statement of Commissioners Hester M. Pierce and Elad Roisman on contingent settlement offers. This is from February 12th. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, except for at the end. So they kind of cited their case as to why they think it doesn't make sense, and then they wrote the following. For the reasons stated above, we disagree with Acting Chair Lee's attempt to rescind that policy by directing the Division of Enforcement to decline to recommend contingent settlement offers to the Commission for consideration. This change marks a return to an unwieldy process that treats as completely separate what is in fact interrelated. It reintroduces an artificial separation between the process by which an entity reaches a resolution on its violations of securities laws and the process by which it obtains clarity with respect to the collateral consequences of these violations. The result will be a longer period between the initiation and resolution of enforcement matters. We do not see how this outcome advances either the Commission's mission or serves the interests of investors. And so a few minutes ago when I said the SEC is still actively doing what they can to hinder Ripple, this is what I'm talking about. There's no other reason to change this long-standing policy except for to hinder Ripple. And I've talked in depth about reasons why in previous videos, and I don't want to go too far off the rails here, but this is what is happening. And so once Gary Gensler is approved, which seems like an inevitability at this point, he can change this back. He can do whatever the hell he wants in terms of policy, right? So if he wants to flip this back to how it was under Asshat J. Clayton, he can definitely do that. And if he wants to have a settlement, he's going to have to, because Ripple's never going to agree to settle if part of that settlement doesn't guarantee that they're going to have a path forward for selling XRP, because it's crucial. It's an absolutely crucial aspect of this, because if they can't, their funding's gone. Like, this is a major piece of Ripple's funding, and that's not some sort of secret. They've been public about this. They've been so transparent for years. Now, once you get additional infrastructure, the corridor is built out with RippleNet and on-demand liquidity. If you have sufficient volume, then those activities in themselves that can make put Ripple in such a position where they'd be solvent, even without XRP sales. But with the infancy state that they're in right now, no, it is a core piece of all of this. And also even just managing liquidity. So even outside of profiting from this, just managing liquidity, this is required for that as well. And don't forget that a ton of the money that is raised from this, from Ripple sales of XRP, it goes back into the XRP ecosystem via Ripple X, which is formerly known as Spring. It's the development arm of Ripple. And so they're really just looking about fostering a healthy XRP ecosystem. And they're doing, as far as I'm concerned, a bang-up job. They're doing fantastic here. So we'll see what kind of questions are posed to you. Ultimately, Genslers' statement here, it's by and large fine. But I just, to what degree that he wrote here is, how much is he just, I don't know, just trying to sound, is he just trying to sound good, or does he believe these things and then he's going to enact policy in such a way that there will be sufficient regulatory clarity specifically for crypto markets? Because all this talk, it sounds good about, when we have our eyes off the ball, this or that, you can harm investors, and when there are clear rules of the road and a cop on the beat to enforce them, our economy goes. Yeah, okay, so even if you believe that, I'll buy that he believes that, but are you going to take action sufficiently so that the crypto asset class can actually thrive in the United States? Because right now, people don't know what the hell to do. Even companies like Ripple that are transparent, they still get kicked on the rear side by the SEC. So I want to see the change, and you could start by finding a way to settle with Ripple. That would be a fine start. But I'll have another update on this topic, I'm sure, later today. We'll just have to see what happens on this, but I will wrap up here for now. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.